So now we're at the stage of pasting in ideas. And you'll remember that I suggested that we build up the complexity and the layers in the opening section, and then in the middle make it reasonably thick and complex, and then in towards the end fade them out again. So I'm going to start with my cello part, and I'm going to pick one of the simple rhythmic and melodic ideas here, say Motherless bar 7/8. So I'm clicking on that, and then I'm going down to the light bulb clipboard picture, which is going to make it paste where I've put my mouse, and there it goes in there. I'm just making a pattern, yeah? So perhaps I might alternate it with something else simple like the end of Wade. Yeah? Maybe I'll put that Motherless one in again, and perhaps the same one again, Wade bars 7 to 8. And so I've created a very simple cello line. That's going to sound quite nice. And so on. You can imagine how that's going to sound. But I want to build up some more layers in my introduction. I might do another one that I haven't used yet, perhaps the beginning of Wade. I won't make them start straight away. I might make them start after the cello has started, perhaps in bar 3. So I've got a simple introduction. See how they work together. These ideas are all designed to work together. So you'll remember that the last section of the piece is similar to the beginning but sort of opposite. So you could sort of fade out similar ideas. Now it doesn't have to be identical, but it can be similar. So why don't I start by pasting. Yeah, that'll give me 8 bars, which are the same as the beginning except in reverse. There's some ideas at the beginning and the end. What do you put in the middle? More or less the same thing except more complex. So somebody's going to be playing the Wade melody. In my score, I'm going to play it on the violin. Yeah. So I'm going to put it in there, but I'm just going to remind myself that line is actually going to be performed. Yeah. So what am I going to accompany my performance with? I could accompany it with a repeat of the introduction. I could just copy that whole introduction and paste it under there. I could copy that whole introduction and paste it in the guitar part. Now, I could paste it in the taiko part, but you'll notice the notes aren't on the line. I'd have to move them up one by one with the arrow key, which would be a bit annoying, but it'd be doable. And I still haven't given the guitar anything, have I? I mean, I could just keep making them play something sort of pretty boring like this Wade 1 and 2 melody, maybe. It's a bit on the boring side. Perhaps I could give them something a bit more exciting, like perhaps Motherless 1 and 2. That might make their lives a little bit more exciting. Motherless 3 and 4. Wade 1 and 2. Alright, so I'm building it up. I haven't got my cello playing anything. One thing I would remind you about is this whole idea of high and low pitches. So consider this simple Wade melody, right? I could give it to the cello part, and while it's highlighted I could press Control down arrow to make it play a low version. While it's highlighted I could also press R for repeat. So I'm starting to build up a much more thick, complex texture in the middle, and I still haven't given the congas anything to play, have I? Maybe I could give them a simple rhythm that I made up myself, one of my rhythmic ostinatos, maybe, or perhaps I could give the taiko drum my rhythmic ostinato. Unfortunately, that temporarily changed to bass drum, but I'll just get rid of that. Okay, and so I'm, starting to build up a structure by simply just pasting. And if you look at it visually, I think you'll find that the colours themselves also help you to understand the structure of the piece. It sort of builds up into a swell in the middle and then fades out at the ends, doesn't it? And that's before I've even put any dynamics and tempo and other things that we could put on, that we learnt the other day. And I haven't even done my conga part yet. I could give my conga a few things to do. Now you can see that's not going to play because that conga part had 3 notes, so I might need to make some decisions. I've got to get them onto lines, don't I? So you might want to make a new idea. That's what I was thinking. You could capture a new idea. Right click, edit idea info, turn it pink because it's a rhythm idea. Give it a name, which it's going to be rhythm ostinato congas, yeah? That way I've got it saved and I think, oh, I think that sounds quite nice, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, so I might just repeat that one instead for my whole piece. I'm going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just pressing R for repeat, and I might start them off with this simple rhythm. Now that it is possible to actually just physically type, isn't it? You can just type in. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. Escape, escape, press a tar. I could just put them in. Well, it didn't go quite in, but I used the arrow keys, yeah? So I can just physically type things in, but it's a bit time consuming. And so that's really about almost how long it takes to do the whole assignment. About 10 minutes probably, if you have a clear idea of what it is that you're trying to do. Now, admittedly, that would just be my rough draft. I'd want to have a listen to it and see if I liked it and put some dynamics on and maybe, basically make it nicer, make a few different choices if I didn't like it. So let's have a listen.